Hello, hello, hello. I am Dana. Welcome to the Mother Knows Best, Mama Knows Best series, where I will be featuring mamas who know best that will uncover, illuminate, and share various ways to simplify and elevate the mom life. The motif or thread that is laced through the various topics that range from productivity to creativity is identifying and honing in on the magic in the mess. We know that motherhood is messy. We also know that motherhood is magical. Not always in equal measure, but quality, not quantity, right? One way to elevate and to augment the magical is to embrace the messy. Finding the magic in the mess is something that will ground you and transform you. It is both commonplace and transcendent at once. The mom life juggle is real. When you're doing all the things, you need some clarity, some inspiration, some encouragement, and some fierce motherfucking support. And that's what we're here. That's what we're here for you with. So let's dive in. Let's get messy and find some magic. This is to mother you, mama. So I have a very special guest with us today that I am so excited, so freaking excited to delve into all this juicy stuff because it is I can't think of a better word than juicy. Like juicy and succulent is what comes up for me. Our guest today is Kayla. Kayla is an incredible mix of the way I see it and the way I put it is an incredible mix of all things woo. And if you're wondering what I mean by woo, it's just that beautiful, luscious kind of intersection of universe, like universal guidance and our deep, authentic purpose. Kayla, is a shamanic priestess, a yogi, a Reiki healer. She has been learning and practicing transformational healing for over 18 years, and she plays with such a juicy mix of transformational methods that include shamanism, sacred sexuality, Reiki, yoga, authentic leadership, the list goes on, Buddhism, nonviolent communication, healing through arts, positive psychology, feng shui, and more. And all of this really as a way to commune with the divine voice inside of us, with our authentic purpose. So you're probably thinking, okay, with all of this amazing, crazy, juicy stuff, what are we going to focus on today? Well, let me tell you, you are in for a treat, because when Kayla shared with me the area that she was really delving into lately and really getting excited about lately, I just jumped and I was like, yes, girl, let's do this. It is so juicy and so succulent. So the topic that we're going to be exploring today is connecting bliss to life purpose, connecting to the power of our pleasure and activating our sensuality as a way to tune into our deep purpose. All right, without further ado, welcome, Kayla. I am so happy to have you here. And I'm going to turn it over to you. And I would love to have you start by sharing how you came to do what you do. I know you do so much stuff, so let's just focus on the topic that we're going to focus on today. How you came to this, to discover and explore this idea of connecting bliss to life purpose, and what exactly.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that introduction. That was really fun. Well, I was reflecting on this, and I think of myself as someone who kind of came into the world with a strong sense of purpose, and then I realized that children just they just are their purpose. They just are their soul, their purpose, their play. It's all just who they are. And I think somewhere along the way, a lot of times we get caught up in trying to analyze and think oh, this is what I need to do or I need to accomplish, and my purpose needs to be linked with this accomplishment. And so, I did that, and sort of I got very overwhelmed and started smoking pot, and that became like just to cover up anything and everything. It was like my one thing fix all coping mechanism, and that stopped working. So that sort of set me off on a spiritual path where I got my Reiki attunement, and that was really like the core moment where, and so this is how I see Bliss so connected to purpose, because it was in that moment where I just was centered and present and ready to receive healing and ready to receive the positive life force energy that is Reiki. I mean, Reiki is just life force energy. And before we had even started the attunement, just my friend and Reiki master, she was setting up the space, and we were in the park, and I felt this breeze. And I think it was a real breeze, like coming in through the park. Hi.
Let me get something out of your and go back and play. Okay.
It's so funny, actually. My friend, when she attuned me, she had her son with us, and so that's funny that he showed up just now.
Oh my God. I swear, you guys, like for the past week, I've been doing interviews, and every time I let everyone know I have my mom here, my dad, and now my husband, who just arrived last night, and I said, I have an interview at 11 o'clock. This is my time. Go down to the beach with the kids and play with them. And every time this happens, what do I do? Go with the flow.
Go with the flow, exactly.
All right, go on.
Okay, so I felt this breeze rush through the air, but it felt like it went through my whole being, and I could literally almost feel like this old identity being blown away. And I heard the words, "I am a healer," and those words were coming from inside of me. So I was like, oh, okay. It was like my ego got wiped away, and I could just be in that moment with that truth of who I am. So, I mean, that sort of was like a turning point for me of being able to claim that that's the path I want to go down. And then I just continued to follow the breadcrumbs, and and then as she was like attuning me and doing the ritual sort of like behind my head, her son was right in front of me actually, and he's like, I don't know, maybe like 1, and he kind of fell like into my heart in that moment. It's so amazing. And then I had my son 2.5-ish years ago, November 2015, and birth was probably one of the most extraordinary awakening experiences, and it was after that it was like a light switch of like, oh wow, my time is now. I feel like a lot of moms can maybe think, oh, I have to wait until my kids are older before I start to follow my path, but I think it's really just the time is now, because we need to set an example for them. And if we're not living our purpose, then we are going to be resentful.
Right.
And just being really honest about that. So
yeah, I love that, because I think that's a really important message, is that the time is now. And and not waiting. And I found myself for a long time being like, I mean, on one hand I feel like, okay, maybe there are certain things that do need to wait, like I did a lot of acting and performing when before kids, and even when my kids were very little, but I felt like I had to be a lot more selective. Like, you have to prioritize, and you need to decide, like, okay, is this balance, or is this negotiation worthwhile, right? But so I feel like sometimes you need to say, I'm going to put this on the shelf for now so that I can focus on this for now. But at the same time, what you're saying is so powerful, and I do want to come back to this message of whatever it is that you're feeling called to do, explore that, right? And find ways, and we can find ways, and it is a juggle, and it is, and it is sometimes a struggle, but it is a worthwhile struggle if it's something that's meaningful to you. So let's explore ways of integrating that and of weaving that into your mom life.
Yes, exactly. And what's present for me now is this idea that, letting go of the like black and white thinking of, well, like if I can't do it now, then I'll just give up. But there's always a way to move towards what's calling you. And the thing, if you don't know what your purpose is and you're just sort of in a place of like, well, I know there's more to it, but I don't know what. It's really just about following your bliss. It's just following what makes you feel the most alive. So, and it can always be, if it's dance, like taking some dance classes. You don't have to go and I'm saying this like to myself at the same time, even because I really want to get back into performing and dancing on stage and all of that stuff. And right now, and right now what works is I go take a dance class once in a while, and it feels so great and makes me so happy. And I dance in my living room, and I know that one day in the right time, in the right moment, then it will go into the next level of that, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Epic kitchen dance parties. That's what goes on. But yeah, there's another thread there that I wanted to follow up on. That it doesn't have to be the, like, if I'm not performing on stage, or if I'm not doing this end goal, then I'm not doing any of it, right? I mean, we can weave like small pieces and elements of the things that make us feel good, whether it's dancing in our home or in our living room, or taking a dance class. There's a quote by Joseph Campbell, and I'm not going to say the entire quote right now, but the piece, the pearl of it is that that so many people we're always looking for the meaning of life, and I think what we are looking for more than anything is the experience that will make us feel alive. And so and I think that aligns with all the things that you do, right? Is seek the experiences that will make you feel alive. So I would love for you to elaborate more on, because you said following your bliss will lead to your purpose, right? What are some ways that we can explore following our bliss? How do we do that? How do we follow our bliss? How do we figure out what our bliss is?
Well, I like to start really small and keep it really simple. It's a question that can get overwhelming. But for me, it's about the little things. So taking an extra moment literally to stop and smell the flowers. Asking your partner or friend for a massage. Making food that is not only nutritious, but like really yummy. Adding a little bit of lemon or cucumbers or strawberries to my water. Like, I think that taking tiny little steps that affirm for ourselves and for the universe that what we care about is that feeling of pleasure and being honored and enjoying life. Those little things add up, and it changes like our whole framework of how we view life, and it makes it easier to answer those bigger questions if you're in a place of like not really sure what your purpose is, or if you're in a place where you're already like clear, I'm meant to start this business or do this particular path, then it's just making that a positive experience for yourself. And reprogramming, I think a lot of us have learned to get things done by pushing and beating ourselves up. I mean, and that's like a good way to lead to like a breakdown where everything just falls apart. So And it's those little moments. Like I noticed one day that I'd been focusing on practicing this a lot and getting like going to some support groups around it and everything. And I was chopping zucchini, I think, and I don't know, I knocked something over, like spilled all over the counter. And I actually heard this voice in my head being so mean to myself, like, Kayla, how could you do that? Come on, like now we have to clean this all up. And I just stopped myself and I was like, it's okay. Like it's really okay. I'll clean it up. It's not like the same thing that I like try to say to my son, which is not always easy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to clean up another mess, but
I know. Yeah.
Just choosing, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just like,
Yeah.
But I mean, when you think about it and when you pause, and that's what I think, that's what I love about what you said about just like the little things and pausing, is because when you pause, you realize, and when you pause and take a breath, it's like, oh, okay, it's really not such a big fucking deal, right? I mean, so I clean it up. And like, yeah, it gets tiring to like sweep the crumbs and clean up the spills of milk like 500 times a day when you have a toddler. But yeah, it's a part of it all, and it's not such a big fucking deal. But yes, thank you for sharing that. I love that you talk about the little things and about starting small, because I think the little things are really the big things. Like the little things can make such a big difference. And, you know, people are always, you know, we hear a lot about self-care nowadays, and like, and I think, you know, and I think I'm just going to talk for myself as a mom, you know, when I hear like self-care, I'm just like, when do I ever have the fucking time for self-care? Like I'm like with my kids all the freaking time. And so I love what you say, because it is possible if you think about it as just a small piece, you know. It could be as simple as a breath. It could be as simple as like boiling a kettle of water and just like taking a couple deep breaths while the water boils, right? And I love the examples that you gave, like adding strawberries or lemon or mint leaves to the water and like giving yourself the experience of spa water, right? Yeah, it really is. And the little things, and the emphasis on pleasure and the emphasis on sensory experience, I think, is so important. Yeah. So my next question was going to be to ask you to share some bite-sized actionable steps, which you already did. I don't know if you want to share some more, if you want to elaborate, or we could move on to.
Well, I'll just say that, you know, shifting the mindset first towards, okay, I deserve some self-care, I need some self-care, and I think asking for a little more support, whether that's from a family member or a community member. You know, the way our culture is set up these days, we are more isolated. At least I am. You know, my parents, like my son's grandparents, live in all different cities. And, you know, when I meet someone who says, oh, your son's so cute, let me know if you ever need someone to watch sometime, like I make a note of that and I tell them, like, I hope you mean that, because I'm going to take you up on it. So I think just allowing ourselves to, and it doesn't have to be all of a sudden and all at once, but just asking for a little bit more. Like I started to ask my partner, like, can you take him out for a walk to the playground for 30 minutes in the morning? Because I'm such a better mom when I have 30 minutes. And I have a little mini habits chart. So I highly recommend this. Like, just make a list of like 3 to 5 tiny things. Like it could be something that takes 1 minute or 3 minutes. So sometimes it'll be like meditate for 1 minute, or do, I've been working on healing my vision, my eyes. So I do this like little acupressure eye massage. It takes like a minute. So just writing it down and having like, I have the chart over here. So it's like, I've got some pretty,
wow.
lot of, I've been challenging myself adding extra stuff, but start little and then check it off every day. And that way, like, even if you don't get that self-care in the morning, then like in the middle of the day when it's nap time and you're just like totally wiped and you're like, I can't even think about self-care. All I can do is just like lay here. That's fine to do. But also if you want to engage in something that's going to be a richer experience for you, or something more intentional, then you already have written out like, these are the things that I'm focusing on that I want to, that are going to lead me towards like, you know, maybe a certain goal of wanting to be better at meditating or something like that. So that would be, I guess, besides the little things that I was sharing essentially to way to organize.
That's a fantastic tip. Yeah, that's a really great tool. I think I'm gonna start implementing that for sure. And the other thing that you mentioned that I think is really important to stress is to ask for help. And that is it's hard for me. Like, and I know that people struggle with it. Hey, hold on one time. Can you take Sophie, please? Let me inside. Okay.
I just love how you go with the flow and you like let it all be like part of the thing, because it's just so relieving.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so, the whole time I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not looking professional. Like, this is like, you know, like all the thoughts that go into your head. So thank you. I feel like, and yes, I want to speak to that for a moment, because that's something that, yeah, like there are all these voices in my head that are like, okay, this is like I'm sitting here like nursing my baby and she's like going and this is so unprofessional. But then I think to myself, okay, what would I say to another mama? Like, so there's the voices that I'm telling myself, and then I ask myself, well, what would I say to another mama if that was happening to her, right? I would say, it's okay. Like, it's a part of the mom life. Like, it's okay. And we get you and we support you and we understand one another and we support one another, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I need to remind myself of that, and I need to have other people remind me of it. So thank you for
it just gives such powerful permission to me also, like, it's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the asking for help thing is really like, it's a muscle, I think. It doesn't come to me, it doesn't come naturally. And so I think it's really a muscle worth exercising. And you can start small with that too, right?
Exactly. Like, you know, can you watch the kid for 5 minutes so I can take a shower by myself? So, you know, it can be, anything.
Right.
I want to add one thing about the mini habits chart. If you do that, the one rule with it is you cannot beat yourself up about anything to do with the mini habits chart. You have to celebrate every single progress that you make. That's the point of it. Okay. If you look back at your week and you only have like one check mark on one thing for the whole week, you celebrate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is so powerful. Yes, that is so powerful. And I'm so glad that you came back to that and mentioned that and stressed that, because I find that we so often, you know, we have a whole list of things that we want to do and we beat ourselves up about not accomplishing all those things, rather than celebrating like the one or two things that we did accomplish. And it's really, I think we need to reframe. I think we really need to reevaluate and reframe our thinking, so that we are in celebration mode, rather than, you know, there's a lot of talk about like abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset, right? And I think that's, I think it goes way beyond like money or whatever, you know. I think it's I think at the core, it's like a way of living that celebrates and that expresses gratitude for what we have and what we've accomplished rather than what we don't have and what we have yet to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so, what is one, we all know that the juggle of life and work and kids and all that is crazy, right? What is something that that you find that eases or facilitates your juggle and that gives you a little more equilibrium?
Yes. So I would say that the number one thing actually has been yoga nidra, which is basically yogic sleep. So you can find like guided yoga nidra meditations on YouTube. I have one from Gabby Bernstein that is my like go-to thing. It's basically like, at the end of the yoga class, you lay in shavasana, with your arms and legs out,
Mm-hmm.
and you just breathe and relax and like let go. So it's basically like that. It's about 20 minutes, and you just sort of you guide your awareness. It's like a body scan basically. But it's so restful. It's so restorative. And there are times when all I have is 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and I'm so tired, and I don't have time for a 2-hour nap, which is what I really want. And doing the yoga nidra, it's like, I don't know, it's like a magic potion. I feel, restored, rested,
Yeah.
brought back to a place where, okay, I can bring my energy forward. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's like a tool that I want all moms to have, because it's been so helpful with the sleep thing, which is
Yeah.
even one of the hardest.
Yeah.
Um,
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Yoga Nidra.
Yoga nidra, yeah. And and then just a lot of the stuff that we've already talked about, asking for support, focusing on what you want, um, whenever things are like, oh my god, this is crazy, like just coming back to like, okay, well, what do I want in this moment, and then asking for support. It really is, even if it's just calling up a friend and saying like, hey, can I just vent to you right now? And spring cleaning is an awesome thing. I don't know if you're familiar with oh my god, like Mama Gina's spring cleaning tool. It's basically where you just have a friend who's willing to hold space for you, and you just share whatever you need to say. So the first person, so say you want to spring clean on cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And so your friend says, okay, what do you have on cooking? And then you just let it all out, everything. And then when you're done talking, they just say, thank you. What else do you have on cooking? And then you set a timer usually for like 10 minutes. So there's a limit to it. It's not like an all day rampage. But it's amazing how letting it all out, having someone listen, and then they just say, thank you. And then at the end, you close it off with like something positive. So then the person will say, it's been an honor to hold space for you. And do you want to share, a desire, a gratitude, and a brag, something you're proud of, something you want to brag about? So, and it's like things just get lifted. So that's another tool
That's amazing. I've never heard of that. I mean, I've never heard of it in that, sort of in that container of spring cleaning. But it makes sense. So it's basically releasing, right? Like releasing everything, and then just putting it out there. And once it's out there, you can let go of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I read a book where she shared a similar exercise, called it something different, and she says you can do that. You can even like clear like to the wall or to the wind. Like you don't have to have another person if another person's around or whatever, just letting it out. And And the other thing I want to mention in terms of asking for support is that you can always ask the divine for support. You can always just say, you know what, this is too much for me. I can't handle it. Here you go, God, or spirit, or whatever you call it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Thank you for adding that, because I think so often we're like, well, I'm on my own and I don't have a person right now that I can, that I can unload to. And so, yeah, I think that's really important, is that sometimes just like, I don't know, find a tree or
Yeah.
did that. When I was pregnant with my first, I had, I was going through some turmoil in my marriage that later resolved itself, but through not resolved itself, poof on its own through therapy. But I remember being outside and like just connecting to a tree and being like, this is my tree, and and just like gazing at it and like putting everything into the tree or to the clouds. Or so yeah, it's powerful, and it's valuable to just find something, either someone or something or something in nature that you can connect with and be like, okay, take this, guide me, heal me.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. There's a bunch of other things that you said that I wanted to jump on, but now they're out. They're out. The thing about the spring cleaning, I love that, and I think there's so much power in releasing and unloading, and not holding it in, but also in, a lot of times I talk about leaning in, right? My Facebook group and my site is called Lean In Mama, and I talk about leaning into whatever our emotions are and not suppressing and not repressing them. So I think there's something really valuable in that container of spring cleaning, is that we're not saying like, oh, let's get rid of these emotions. We're saying let's move beyond them. Let's move past them by giving voice to them.
Yeah,
it's important
totally.
Voice, and to accept that this is where I'm at, and like, let's give voice to it so that I can move through it. All right. What is one of the most impacting lessons learned along your mompreneurial journey?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of what I already spoke about too, of really just claiming that the time is now. I also went through turmoil in my relationship when my son was born, and we are in a good place at this point. But my son was like 3 months old, and his dad and I broke up, and he moved out, and I was in New Hampshire, and he moved all the way to Austin, and I just easily could have gone into a space of like, I can't right now, I can't do anything extra. But it didn't seem like it was extra. It seemed like, well, this is my purpose and this is what I'm meant to do. And if I'm not going to do it now, when am I? I don't know. It was this existential moment of like, well, I just have to go for it. So I found this mentor who I resonated with a lot, and I signed up for his program, and I put the last of the money that I had in savings into that program, and it came back to me multiple times through the way I was able to elevate my services as a healer. So, I'm not saying go spend the last of the money you have to make your dreams happen, because it's always different. And I think that it was just the right moment for me to really step into that. but yeah, just believing in myself and believing that I really do have something to offer the world through following the call of my heart, and not being stopped by the circumstances, and really saying, you know, I'm gonna move towards this. Um, and I showed up really powerfully for that program. And it was like my son almost like knew or something, like he would just nap at the right times, and like I was so inspired that I started waking up early before he woke up and like meditating, and it just really gave me a lot of energy. So I think it's, the lesson is like trusting that following your true heart's desires and your true bliss and calling is going to give you energy. It's not going to take energy away from you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Following your heart's purpose is going to give you energy and not take away.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing that you were so attuned to your intuition, to be able to show up, to show up and to receive and to do the work. You know, it's all those pieces together.
Yeah.
But I think, but you felt that that it was right for you, and that's what gave you, you know, that's what empowered you to show up and to do the work and to receive, right?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. There's a quote that came up for me. I love quotes.
I love quotes too. I love it.
This is because when you said that, when, if not now, when, right? This is a quote by a rabbi from like years and years past, Rabbi Hillel, who said, if I am not for myself, who am I? If I am for myself alone, what am I? And if not now, when? So, and I love that, and I feel like it goes along with everything that we've been talking about, right? We need to be there for ourselves and show up for ourselves, and we also need to be in service of others. And if not now, when?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Kayla. This was awesome.
Thank you.
I want to invite all of you watching, listening, to try out these, you know, the little things. Just think about what Kayla said is the examples of the little things that really make a huge difference. And I want to invite you to smell that flower, add the strawberries and the lemon to the water, you know, take some deep breaths when boiling a kettle of water, and see how those little things, those little sensory things,
hug the tree.
Yes.
Or hug yourself.
Yes, hug yourself, hug your babies, hug, and see how those sensory moments that activate our pleasure, those are the sensory moments that activate our pleasure principle, right? And those are the blissful things that that will lead us to our purpose, and that will give our life meaning by creating meaningful experiences of being alive, right? Kayla, where can we find you? Where can we learn more about what you do?
Well, I have a website that you can go to. It's my full name, KaylaRoseYoder.com. And I have an inspiration tab on there with some articles that I've written, as well as like another podcast interview that I did. And I have an events tab. If you are in the Austin area, I do meetup groups for moms. Sometimes bring the kids along, sometimes just, you know, a mom moment for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a free guided clarity meditation that you can get And yeah, pretty much everything is there on the website. The meetup group is called Mom Moments. I think it's Austin Moms Living with Bliss and Purpose. So if you or know anyone in the Austin area, you can check that out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I will of course post your link.
Cool. Oh yeah, and I made this playlist for one of my workshops of songs that I just love so much. So maybe you can post that to just a link to this playlist on YouTube of some of my favorite songs to dance to or cook to, or, you know.
Oh my God, that is so awesome. I will definitely do that. And actually I have my own playlist that I can share also of our like epic kitchen dance parties.
Oh, awesome.
Boss Mom. It's called the Boss Mom playlist.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing all your beautiful insights with us. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you, you too. Thank you for just everything that you're doing and who you are, and, you know, paving the way for all of us.
Oh, thank you. All right. Sending lots of like little things along your way.
Yeah, little surprise miracles.
Yes. All right. Bye, Kayla.
Bye.